We are live. Vivi, happy Wednesday.
Yes, happy Wednesday. Oh
We
my
have a little
goodness.
feedback there in Mexico. Vivi's in Rosarito, Mexico, and I'm in West Palm Beach, Florida. And it is our first Wednesday podcast of 2022. And it is a special one. We are gearing up towards our IQMK national conference, which will be, let me get my bird to quiet down, which will be held January 13th through 15th in Orlando. So we have been totally busy with that. What else has been going on there, Vivi?
Well, lots of new beginnings, right? It's the beginning of the year, so there's been a lot of new projects starting and some finishing of projects and getting things done for annual meeting, and just really excitement for what's to come, and keeping positive, keeping mindful, keeping it going. So it's been busy out here.
Really has been busy. Tonight is really special, and I can see that we're loading up on some eyeballs coming on our program because I really pushed tonight as a very special hour. We have as our guest someone that I met, oh my goodness, probably 10 years ago, someone whose energy is absolutely infectious, somebody who's in marketing and publicity that comes off first and foremost as truly authentic. And that's just something, that we talk about a lot on Heard It Through the Grapevine and at IQMK Global. And that is, money doesn't mean anything if it's not doing something meaningful, if it's not contributing in some significant way to our world. And, I never forgot about you, Sean. I'm going to bring you on in a minute. I never forgot about you. I've always remembered you as a very vibrant's the word, a vibration that comes into the room and kind of lifts up your spirits and makes you realize that you can do what you want to do. And I think you've spent the past decade really working hard on finding that path for yourself and what that could mean as an empire, as a media empire. And that's certainly what you're building. But I discovered in the past, I would say 3 months, a very different Sean. And it's a Sean that is wiser, a Sean that shows me that social media is not just for 20-year-olds, that you can do TikTok and you can do Instagram and be smart and be effective and be fun. And so many people that are on our call tonight, so many people that will be at our meeting, and Sean's going to be at our meeting. And he may be speaking twice, Sean, so get ready. So many people feel stuck. This pandemic was supposed to be over. It was supposed to be over. And yet we are still facing lockdowns, people not wanting to travel, people being last week's topic was on sustained fear and how that harms our health, but it just is everywhere. And I'm my day job is in healthcare, helping hospitals, physicians really develop their businesses. And if you were on the phone for half of what I do during the day with hospitals, you would be like, oh my gosh, this is like the bubonic plague. And it is really a very fearful world. And so many of us are going into 2022 constricted. And we know from our researchers and from our doctors, to be constricted is to be unhealthy in body, mind, and spirit. And so I welcome Sean Brooks tonight as someone who can help us shake it off. His titles are everywhere from how to get yourself unstuck in life to how to get the hell out. I don't think you use the word hell, but I will. Get the hell out of your own way and really be who you want to be and who the world needs. So I am going to since I want Sean to fill the screen, I'm going to let Vivi do the introductory interview and get us started. And then I'll jump back in. So welcome, Sean Brooks.
Thank you for
Welcome,
having me.
Sean. Can y'all hear
Wow.
me okay? I switched my headset, so I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yeah, I
Yes?
can do that.
Awesome. Well, Sean, I'm excited to know you and to really just, share with everyone, how can we get out of our own way? Because this is, I think it's a journey, it's a path for many of us, right? And I think that it's incredibly powerful that we can hop on this path and we can be on this way at any given time. And I think that's very exciting,
Yes.
to many of us. And so I'm just going to let you tell us about you first. And, how did you get to this amazing, way of looking at things?
Been through so many traumas in my life that I had to come to a point that I had to say there has to be a better purpose in life than going through so much. And going through it just propelled me to be a better person. So now I just look at circumstances as it's going to make me better. And I focus on the positive. Little bit about me. I'm an old man, 50 years old. But anyway, I've been in marketing and branding for over 25 years, helping people build their brand. And what I found out over the years is that people needed help, not only to build their brand, but also the motivation to continue building once they got started. So I built my business to a point where I can kind of walk away and focus on helping people be more productive in their business by, when I say productive, not just the, get out of bed stuff, but how to manage tech and things of that sort. So I got in the realm of I wrote two books, one on productivity and one on building your brand. And I use those as the stepping stones to help people get to that next level of success. Uh, and one of the big things I think you said of getting out of your own way, I think the first key of that is being yourself. You have to accept who you are and be yourself. That is the first step. So
Absolutely. I totally, think that authenticity is something that I think society teaches us to suppress. And we see that, in the workforce, right? Um, and I mean, we can get into so much of this, right? Having to code switch because you have to fit in or think you have to fit in a certain way. And then that, just kind of chips away, right? Because you cannot be your authentic self.
right.
And we end up sometimes being stuck in a place where we're not happy, and some of us have to take that leap and have to go in, right? I left something very different that I was doing to work with children and take a pay cut, and that made the huge difference because there I could be my authentic self and I could see impact, and it put me on a different path. So I totally agree with that, totally. I see
Yeah.
Tanya jumped in, so let's see what Tanya's gonna say. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, T.
I'm sorry. I had to jump in because that is one of the strongest feelings that I have as a professional going into 2022. And that is, for the past few years of my life, through many, many challenges, I realized that the wisest path is always the path that makes me feel most alive. And that usually is not repressing who I am and my craziness and just being authentic, right? Or being
Yes.
who Tanya is. And I watch you, Sean, and I hope you can bring some of those, fun little 10, 20, 30-second clips to the meeting. But, Sean just knocks all this crap out of the way on Instagram, and he leaves me feeling like, yep, don't be artificial. Knock that out of my day. Be in a place that I want to be that makes me happy. Make that happen. Stop making excuses. It's just a compendium of getting to who you are, right? Accepting your age, accepting your financial situation, accepting your failed relationships along with your successful ones, and just celebrating every day. Um,
Every
and you just are a spitting image of that. But I have a really important question. Um, one of the things that I want you to know, and, I see a lot of people here that are not IQMK partners. IQMK is a company. We do e-commerce, we do direct retail, we also do network marketing, MLM, all these models. But our core reason why we're in business is to help people cultivate better health and kind of more hopefulness in their life. Okay. So those two things go hand in hand, because if you are feeling dragged down, if you are recovering from food poisoning or an auto accident, like I have been over the holidays, it's really hard to be optimistic. It's really hard to look in the mirror and say, I am going to do the dream in the next couple of months, because you're not feeling it. Your physical being is not feeling it. So I look at you, Sean, and I say, and I have, this dude is 50. He looks 35. He moves like a teenager. He rocks it. What do you do for your health? Let's start there. How do you get out of your way to be healthy?
Actually, the key word is just do it. It's just so funny because I just started back yesterday. I actually gained 25 pounds because I worked out, and I'm so competitive. I had got down to like 208 pounds, and I'm back up to a lot more, 245.
You
So
wear it well, though. I saw you in your
I do, but I'm not happy. But I'm not happy with myself because carrying too much weight, arteries, everything else within the body doesn't function correctly. But I got injured. So the question you asked, what do? I focus on doing the right thing. And I was just telling my wife, it's all about the numbers. It's all about numbers. There's two things you can do. You can go to the gym every single day and you can work out, but you got to balance the numbers, calories in, calories out. Which way is it? Or you can not work out and balance what you're putting in your mouth.
Which is nothing.
Exactly. But some people can't fathom that. They think you have to be into a gym, but it all boils down to numbers. But getting back to what you said, what do? I focus on right now is getting in the best shape I can be, stretching, because I don't see myself as old. I see myself as out of shape, and out of shape could mean that I don't do the things that I did when I was younger. I can sit in front of the TV and stretch, then I'll have more mobility, but people don't think about that. I try to watch what I eat, try to put some fiber in my diet, try to put some vegetables in my diet. I don't drink soda.
Antioxidants. Obviously, you don't know yet about muscadine.
So just putting the right things in is one of the keys. And I just started back yesterday, and I vowed for myself. You'll see it because I'll be posting daily my workouts, and you'll see the shred. So
good. I guess my question is, one of the great presentations that you give, and one of the things we're asking you to do in Orlando on July 14th, which is the big curriculum day. Anybody that's still not registered, www.iqmkevents.com. One of the things that you talk about is getting out of your own way. And I think let's stop with health, because you just talked about it. You gained 20 plus pounds. I had lost 10. I've gained them all back. Yeah, and I get frustrated because I say to myself, all right, how can I be that 7-figure consultant again when I can't even get control of my health? And honestly, if I hadn't reversed diabetes and I've kept my A1C down, even with 7-pound weight gain on the doctor's books, if I hadn't discovered the power of super antioxidants, really putting kind of cellular protection into my body a couple times a day, I know that my diabetes would be out of control and my inflammation in my body would be ridiculous, and I would be in chronic old age pain. Having said that, having this security blanket of a vitamin, which allows my kids here not to eat broccoli because they had extra muscadine today, is what they told me. But it's true, right? So I've got this constant level of health in my bloodstream that allows me to say, okay, I know that I can get back into better shape. What do you think? What's the cause? Do you think the human nature, and you just went through it, that we allow ourselves to have, like, we're not happy. Some people, other people are okay. I'm not happy with, not feeling comfortable in pants that button and zip. So how do I let myself get there? Why do people let their blood sugar get crazy? Why do people let their mental health keep them in bed for weeks? Why do we sabotage our happiness?
I think because we feel that we don't have control. And I think once you realize that you have control over your life, and the big factor of that is you only get one. See, people don't think about it. You get one life. You got one body. You got one engine to your car. If something happens to it, that's it. There's no going in. There's no starting over. So if you can start by, okay, this is day one. Let me start prepping this engine for another good 50 years. I gave myself 50. I said, I'm going to be here till 100. I said 120, but I'm just going to be the best 50. And the only way that I can do that is to prep that engine, get that engine back right. I went in and got the colonoscopy. I got all my checkups. I got everything done. I know everything is about numbers. So what you said, why do people give up? Because maybe they don't really grasp that you can live if you take control of your life and do something about it. You have to do something about it.
Wow, and what you just said, I think, is pretty deep. If I can extract it, maybe misinterpret it, but I think it works. If everything in your life, including your health and success, is based on numbers, it's so easy to be accountable. So if I know that to build my business, I need to make 5 calls of meaningful human contact every day, whether it's through LinkedIn, which is, we're live tonight for the first time. That's why I think our viewership is up. Whether it's reaching out on LinkedIn, or whether it is, just cold calling a couple people that I think could really use me in their life. And then other numbers to make sure that my blood sugar is under 110 every morning when I wake up. To make sure these numbers that most of us come to hate, with algebra and calculus as we get into high school and college. But they're so critical because they help us measure everything, right? I mean, is that a part of how you can coach me? I love your one title, productivity coach.
Productivity coach.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of that today. I was talking with a client, and this client says, I'm tired of standing on my feet. She does hair. And I was like, well, how much do you make a year? She's like, I really don't know. And I was like, well, how do you know if that's the field you're supposed to be in? But anyway, make a long story short, everything boils down to numbers. I had her send me her stuff, and I popped them into a spreadsheet, and then realized now she's making money, but she made $19,000.
What?
So what I said was, you're in the wrong field. You're not making any money. It all boils down to numbers. At the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. So people were asking me, well, everybody says people are not going to work. They're not taking these jobs. Well, they're doing their own things. They're figuring things out. I said, maybe you can go drive for someone, and now you can determine how much you need to make, and you can go do it. But what you were doing was not working for you. So I still don't understand how they survived a whole year on $90,000. I said something didn't add up. Something didn't make sense.
And that's the problem. As somebody who owned a very high-end med spa and invested over $500,000 in it, that was one of my biggest mistakes, is not having my pulse on the daily available cash. And part of the reason why is because there wasn't any. And so you keep moving forward in denial, or having false hopes that it's suddenly going to appear. And then you get so stressed out, you can't take the actions. You can't take the quantitative actions that drive your success.
This is so interesting because I just saw a video. It was on TikTok. I'm in there for the humor and the mom part with my kids. But hey, TikTok University, you can really get some learning in there. You can.
Yes. Yes.
So I saw this TikTok about this gentleman in Texas who has a bull, and he put his bull next to the road, and he was charging people $10 to take a picture with the bull. Well, this woman, she's like this business person, went in there and she said in about 10 minutes, this man had like six people here, 6 to 8 people take, pictures with this bull. Well, he was making about $480 an hour.
Wow.
So if you do the numbers, can you
Yeah,
imagine what he makes in the weekend?
exactly.
And it's like, where are we doing? There's so many different ways to make money. And, this is a time to be open and awake and do some numbers, right? Really kind of figure that out.
Wow, that's a great story, because I know that to make six figures, you only have to average $287 a day. And so there are people on e-commerce that have residual revenues, including our friend Sean here, with the great backlighting and the great fancy lighting on your face. It's making me feel like I have nothing. I have to learn so much from you, Sean. But $287 a day, right? Bartenders make that. You have to like look at what's possible, what you get excited about. It's not all about chasing that 287 a day, because if you're just standing on your feet and not enjoying what you're doing, it
Right.
doesn't count. That's not money. That's toxic, right? But every one of us, and I think I was driving the other day and I wanted to take it down as a note. So maybe you can say it again, Sean. You help people find what they love and you help them make money doing it. Can you talk about that?
So what I do is I do a consultation with people to try to figure out what their passion is. And a lot of times they can figure out their passion, but they don't know how to monetize it. So that's where I come in at. I go to a lot of conferences and I like resellers, wholesalers, and I position myself to be able to give them that product or that whatever it is they need to do. So let's say a hairstylist, she said, well, I'm tired, I want to get off my feet. Or I had a guy who said, hey, I want to sell vitamins, whatever the case was, I found something for them. So I have a list of companies that I can assist them with. The whole goal is to create entrepreneurs. When people are working for themselves and they have something that they love, they can make a lot of money with it. So I just position myself, and I think this is where we were going with it, because we talked about a lot of stuff, but just position myself that I can help them, really realize what they want to do and say, hey, here's what you need to do. Here's the step. Here's everything right here in front of them. So now I've taken away all your excuses.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's really powerful, because first of all, I think what tends to happen is we find out what we're passionate about, right?
Right.
But we don't know how to monetize it without feeling like we're cheap and we're commercializing it, right? And somehow, and I don't know how we do that in a primarily capitalistic society, right? I just don't. That selling things is somehow beneath a certain education level, or any of those kinds of associative, like taking pictures with a bull and making $500 a day is somehow less desirable than being a manager at a retail store. And so much of that has to do with our values. And what we learn is what people respect, or what we begin to care about, what other people think of us. And so, Sean, can you talk a little bit about that? The role of worrying about what other people think versus what you want.
Yeah, you got to kick that out the door. I was like that for a while, worried about, and then once I think my biggest inspiration came from the social media influencers, watching them and watching how they just didn't care if I was out on the street and they were trying to film or whatever it was. They just did it. They didn't care who was looking. They don't care where they were at. And then I started looking for a while and I was like, okay, it's not that bad, because they weren't doing anything. And I said, well, let me do it. And I started doing it. And my wife will tell you, I'll pull my phone out. I don't care where I'm at. I'll pull it out and start recording. I missed it the other day. I was standing in front of the barbershop, and this thing probably would have went viral. A Rolls Royce pulled up with a driver. It was all tinted. All you can see was a driver. I'm in front of the barbershop waiting. Rolls Royce pulls into the spot. The dog groomer runs out, opens the back door. There's nobody in the back seat but a fluffy dog, a fluffy, pretty dog. He's got his plush leash on. He grabs him and he's like, okay, we're going to take him in. He takes him in and he closes the door and the driver pulls off. And I was like, that dog has a life. And if I had recorded that and posted it, it would have went viral. You understand? So being prepared to shoot, not worrying about who's around you, only be concerned with yourself. As long as you're not endangering anyone or violating anyone, have fun with life and just do it. Just jump out there and do it. Have fun. That's what it's all about.
I love that.
Yeah.
Just do it.
That's what Mike talks about. It's funny. We have a founder and a CEO of the IQMK Global Initiative, and it is really the best way to describe it. And it's also kind of, sounds cheesy, but I have totally seen it in action. And that is cultivating hope and health worldwide.
Yes.
And any way you want to do it, just do it. The people that come to us, the people who actually, 90% of the people in our organization have taken Must Natural, have taken premium muscadine grape antioxidant, and have had some kind of dramatic health benefit. Whether it's, their reading glasses are no longer 3, but they're 1. Their sexual desire has come back. Their blood pressure has gone down. In my case, I prevented back surgery. My diabetes is better. My energy level is crazy, even through tough times. So most of us that are in this because we want to jump out there and show other people the power of functional nutrition and believing in creating communities of health. But there's so many things, at least in the United States, and maybe in other countries too, that work against the entrepreneur. So I'm going to ask you this, Sean. What do you think the primary challenges in the life of an entrepreneur are?
The challenges is changing the mindset. The mindset was go get education and go to work for someone. So a lot of people, including myself, I wasn't raised in a financial household that talked about money and how to make money. But now as I look back, I realized that there were generations where everybody had a skill and they utilized that skill to make money outside of the household. Everybody didn't go to the factory and work. And then there came a point where I was just telling somebody today where I'll say it, Hershey, where they came up and they built a whole community, right? And then what they said was, we're going to bring people in, we're going to give them a place to stay, and then they'll work in the factory. So getting back to your question, entrepreneurship is very, very hard because no one prepares you for entrepreneurship. You don't understand all the ups and the downs. You say you want to leave a 9-to-5 where you work 8 hours a day, but in entrepreneurship, at the beginning, you're working 24 hours a day. But at the end of the day, when I say the end of the day, when you get to where you need to be, you don't work as long because you put in the work. So entrepreneurship is if anybody tells you it's easy starting out, they're not being fair with you. It's not easy, but it can be the best thing that you've ever done in your life. If you find something you love or find a product or find an initiative and you just continue with it day in and day out, Trust and believe me, if you sow the seeds, they will grow and grow and grow. But the key to that is being your authentic self. Don't do something outside of your authentic self. If you're chasing money, you won't find it. You know, if you're chasing to help people, to heal people, to make people better, I can promise you, you'll turn around. Money will be chasing you so hard and so fast, you won't be able to catch it all. That is the
I
truth.
Oh my gosh, I love that what you said about, that authenticity. And I really think too that it's connected to your why, right? Like
Yes.
what makes you get up every single morning? What really makes you do this, right? I'm in the human services field, and money, like you were saying, wasn't in the literacy skill set that my family generations had as an immigrant person, and which it's a barrier, right? It's a different start, but now it's like once we know better, we can do better, and
Yes.
shifting that mindset, and connecting it to the why do I get up every day for this? Why am I still here? Why am I still working towards this goal? Why do I love this product? Why do I believe in it, right? So kind of really having that impact of really connecting to the why, and and what is it that I do, how I do it, it's going to connect me to the why. And I had this session today about that, in some of my other ventures and collaborations that I do with organizations. And I think it's so important because it helps you really truly stay to your authentic self, but you have to dig deep for that why sometimes.
Yes.
And sometimes people don't take the time to do that piece. And I think it's so important. And I know it's personally helped me.
And you said something there. People get in their own way with that sometimes. And that's another session. I won't say the word, but I have a session. It's called a shut the F up session. All I want you to do is listen to the questions I ask you and answer the questions. Don't say nothing additional, because that's sometimes the problem. You can find people that are passionate about something, but they are constantly in their way, tripping over themselves every single day. But yes, I'm so excited. Entrepreneurship. Everyone should be an entrepreneur. Everyone. Start
Yeah.
your own business.
I mean, and we should all, it's really funny. I have this story that I tell, and that is I am blessed to be raising a very beautiful, smart, stubborn 6-year-old girl. And I've never really raised girls. All of the kids in my life until just recently have been boys. And girls are very, very interesting because they surprise you. They just simply surprise you with their astuteness. And I do believe there are some of us that are just more natural entrepreneurs, and maybe natural marketers is something more interesting. But she does take Taekwondo, right? She takes Taekwondo, and she hears around her her master, who's in his 50s, others that are aging, that are also the dojo masters, saying, "Oh, I have a pain," or "Oh my goodness, I can't do that kick as high as I used to," or my joints are stiff, or "Man, I wish I was getting younger instead of older." And the other day, she sets out our vitamins and our pills in the morning, and she was setting mine out. And she said, "I have a question, Nana." And I said, "Well, what is it, Grace?" And she said, "Why haven't you given a sample of Must Natural to Master John?" I said, "What?" She said, they hurt when they get older. They have pains. Their back hurts just like yours used to. So why didn't you give him a sample so he can sell it to other people and take it himself? You know what? I just like almost cried because she's so right. Here's this person I see every day that is having joint pain and issues, and he influences literally thousands of people in the course of a year. And I didn't make that entrepreneurial connection. Why? Maybe, I don't know. And I am going to bring up a question called pride in just a minute. I didn't want to seem like a peddler, right? Even though I know this stuff has changed my life, and I know that it's going to take away his osteoarthritis, it's going to make his knees better. And I'm very proud to say that although I haven't done the whole education for him, he's coming to our meeting for at least the Saturday and Friday night. He's getting away from the dojo because, well, maybe Gracie's a better salesperson than I am at 6 years old. But she was very proud of herself. And so I'm feeding that in her. But when I was growing up, when I wanted to sell things, my dad would say, no, you're going to go get an education and be a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, a service person, a professional service person, and not sell things. And so that I think is shifting, right? We've got Instagram, we've got all these 10-year-olds that are selling how they play Minecraft and getting 100,000 views and bringing home 10 grand a month. I think there's this, pride. You can be passionate about something, but most of us are not proud of ourselves. Most of us, especially of the female variety, have a real sense of I'm not good enough. Vivi, you're so good at talking about this with young people. And Sean, how do you get people to get over their sense of kind of worthlessness?
For me, I tell people that pride keeps them in the box. In order to be unique, in order to be different, in order for people to see you, you gotta get out the box. And people are prideful for very different reasons. Some feel that they don't have the knowledge. Some people feel that their expertise, people wouldn't pay for it, or their product, nobody would buy it. And I tell people all the time, I say, just think for 1 second, how many burger joints are out there in the world, and people are still opening up burger joints. You got McDonald's, you got Burger King, but pizza, they're everywhere. And I would say, if they can do that and not worry about McDonald's crushing them, then you can do it too. Get out the box. Don't worry about nobody else, and just concern yourself with who you are and what you want to do. But pride is a dream killer. It is a dream killer.
What do you think? What do you think, Vivi? You work with a lot of children that have no sense of worth.
I think again it goes back to being unique and sharing the reality of things, right? Being in the role of an educator, I had to be vulnerable and share my struggles and connect that way, right? Making that connection with them, letting them know that things are going to be hard and that it's okay with whatever they've been through, whatever they're going through, that it's okay, that many of us have gone through that, but now they have a chance to change that about themselves, right? And then provide them with the tools, the resources, because a lot of times that's also a big barrier. It's also the lack of resources, and then sometimes, like, in your email tagline, not using those resources, right? So I think also that it's really meeting people where they're at and understanding where they are in their humanics part, and just being real and being vulnerable. And that has really truly helped made an impact, as an educator in many youth's lives, because oftentimes, we're as an we see that we have a role and we're doing something, but we can go past that role. Today we had a conversation with some educators about who could they visualize had made an impact or has helped them through something. And a lot of them, that person that came to their mind was a former coach or an educator, or a family friend that just really took an interest in them, right? And just really, like Sean was saying, just do it, but do it in a way that you share your vulnerability with people, empower people, acknowledge people, get your ego out the side. If somebody's winning, you keep cheering for them, right? And kind of fostering that type of equity and diversity type of environments for kids by giving them the resources, empowering, helping them figure out their little why, because that little why becomes a big why, right? But also, just really listen to what what they're saying. Oftentimes I think about my own experience. And I've had many different ideas, when I was young, but nobody really stopped to listen to, really figure out how to help me move those ideas forward. But I had a burning passion to help and to, educate and to work. So I focused on that. And it took me, my original goal was to be a teacher. And that goal took me to work in expanded learning, and then work in, education, and then be a professional development person that has traveled the world and has coached, for national organizations and overseas. And you just never know. So, really looking at, um, getting, like Sean said, doing it, but doing it in a way that you are unique, where you're connecting your why, when you're giving and providing the resources, and being okay with being uncomfortable. Tell people, being okay with being uncomfortable, being okay with failing, because that's going to build the resilience in them.
I have a question. I know you've helped, Sean. I know that you've helped a lot of people with branding themselves, right? I remember your early work with authors and your own books, like how to brand yourself. I have a question for you, and that is, and I know we'll get into it more in Orlando and hopefully further and further, but my question is, what is an example of somebody that has come to you failing? And failure means a lot of different things to different people, but it generally means you've disappointed yourself. You don't have enough resources to even get yourself standing to pursue your dream, but you still have this lingering belief in your idea or yourself. Can you give an example of a turnaround? And I know this is an unprepared question, but a turnaround in someone that inspired you, that would inspire us.
I won't give her name, but I was doing the photography side of my business, and I was at my studio, and a client came in and brought up a lady with her that was a makeup artist, and talked with her, and then, to make a long story short, I asked her, was she a makeup artist, for future gigs, and she said yes. She said, but my only dilemma is I don't have transportation. I said, okay. So I fell into a situation at one time, and I called her and said, hey, are you available? She said, yes, I don't have any transportation. I said, all right, well, I'll pick you up on the way to the studio. Well, go to pick her up. She doesn't answer the door. And I see her peeking out the window, but she won't answer the door. And I'm like, I really, really need you, and I'm calling, she's not answering the phone. And I hear the phone ringing in the house. So I just give up on it, and I just go to the studio and I make a phone call, and I tell the lady, just go to Mac, boo-boo, and come and do the shoot. So I'm upset. I'm ticked. And she calls me like a week later, says, I apologize. I just wasn't confident in my skills and this and this, and I was like, what I say? It gets that way sometimes, but you left me hanging. You could have just told me that on the way to the studio, and I still would have told the client the same thing. And she's like, you're a professional, woo-woo. Make a long story short, I didn't talk to her for about a month. And then one day she called me, she's like, hey, where are you at? And I said, I'm at my office, which at the time was on Miami Beach. And she said, hey, you got time to talk? So anyway, I met her and we sat down and talked, and she's crying. She's like, I'm in this dilemma, the state, they took my kids and I don't know what to do. Oh. And I said, listen, you told me you were talented with makeup. I said, what is it that you wanted? She said, I want to sell makeup. Well, I helped her develop a lipstick brand. I met her like a couple of days later at McDonald's, and we developed the title of what the lipstick. I did the logo for it, no cost. And I was like, listen, and I told her where to buy the tubes and everything from. And she had to, but anyway, make a long story short, this has been about 7 years ago. She's now successful. She's got her children back. She has a successful business. She has homes, cars. She has everything that she wants in life right now. And it is not necessarily just the monetary. What she did was she told me, she said, you believed in me, even when I let you down, and you still helped me. And that was her her stepping stone to,
There it is.
I guess, to get there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just that guy. I couldn't be mad at people because you don't get blessed by holding grudges. You know, so
Wow.
that's,
Powerful stuff.
yeah.
Man, I got to stop for a minute and ask everybody that's watching this tonight and in the future, who believes in you and who do you believe in? That, oh man, as I get ready for Orlando and a presentation that I'm doing around how I hated MLMs until I found this one and refused to do it. And the reason why I'm doing this particular network development, e-commerce and in-person retail is this reason. It allows me to believe in people who currently don't believe in themselves. And it's not just psychological, because taking enough antioxidants help your brain to function better. And I believe that when the human brain functions better, it actually likes the body it's in. And when you like the body and the skin that you're in, you begin to have the confidence to do things that help the world. And in that process, just like the woman you believed in and helped personally and professionally, they discover themselves, and you just get more energy, right? To do
Yeah.
more. And that energy sometimes is money.
Mm-hmm.
That energy is sometimes just satisfaction. But the only reason I'm staying with a brand new MLM in the world is because of the people I've met, from the top leadership to Lynette to my friends that I've loved, like Vivi and Elba and others that have become a part of my team. We're here because we believe in each other. And I think that is something that if anybody just is watching this for a minute, go out there and believe in someone, and make sure you find someone that doesn't have an agenda with you, doesn't want you to pay a bill for them. They just want to believe in you. And that's powerful emotional stuff. I'm sure you see it all the time in the work you do with children, Vivi, correct?
Absolutely. And that's what took me back right now, because I've had the privilege to have some of my former students find me on Instagram or Facebook, and I get to see all the amazing things. Specifically, my work has been deep with the disability inclusion community. And so, to see these children who, at some point in their life, in their little developing life, were struggling, and Sean's story took me back about that. Someone believed in them. And there's like a particular student of mine who we share the same birthday. And so when I was a director, I was looking at all the applications, and I see this kid, we have something in common. And so his first day there, brand new to the school, and I said, hey, guess what, this is my birthday too. And he, 20, well, no, not 20, about 14 years later, found me on Facebook and said, Miss
Oh,
Vivi, I will never forget how you made me feel so welcome that first day in the program. And I will never forget everything that you did for us. And, I see this kid thriving. And it's just, many other kids that have struggled with, diagnosed disabilities or undiagnosed disabilities. And it's really the power of humanics, right? I think some of us lose sight of that. And it's okay to be human and vulnerable.
is that a
And
real word?
Humanity.
I love
um,
that.
It was,
well,
Power of
I
humanity.
studied my background in study is in spirit, body, and soul. And so that's sort of the philosophy of my schoolwork and my background. And we call it the work of humanics. So
That's
yeah,
very
this is
good.
powerful stuff. And it, and it can be tied to your passion, whether you decide to grow a business, start a business, rebrand yourself. I'm sort of in that space, rebranding myself. So this is, just very empowering and very exciting.
Yeah. No, and I can't tell you, I can't express my gratitude on behalf of the dozens and dozens of people who will benefit from direct interaction with you in Orlando from January 13th through the 15th. Please register now at www.iqmkevents.com. But I want to say this, though, that it's very powerful to connect to people who, number one, are successful, and number two, live their life on principle, not by principle, but on principle, on purposeful principle. And Sean, you do a lot of that. Now, I have a very mundane question, because I look so much better at the end of this show than I did in the beginning, because I put my phone light on myself. And the reason why I did that is because I see this amazing technical superiority to Sean Brooks at the moment. So tell me, if I want to do professional podcasting, which I kind of do, and which a lot of people who are on our call right now have regular podcasts, what do you have as a setup? What do you do?
I actually built my studio, and so okay, I have the kids. You have a great mic, first of all. You have to have a good mic. So then I have a good camera right in front of me, and I have a sub camera here, and I have two lights that are distance up, because I have glasses on, so I need to distance them so you can't see them. Now you can see them when my glasses are up.
Okay.
The key to the 4K effect is the backlight. I have a rim light right up here in the corner. The rim light is just a little bit dimmer than my main light. And like I say, my main light, my field light, and then a backlight. And everything else is just extra. But I actually have a full, if anybody wants, I have a full studio. Like, I can run things across the screen. I have my previews. I have everything. Like, I can pre-produce a show right here and click buttons and everything will play without moving myself. Volumes. I don't know if you can hear that music playing. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
The clapping, all that built in. But anyway, answer your question. You can actually go to seanbrooks.com, and you can go to the bottom of the page. It'll say view my equipment list.
Okay, hold on. I'm putting it seanbrooks.com up here.
Yeah, seanbrooks.com. And if
I didn't know this. I didn't set this up.
No, you didn't. If you go to the bottom of the page, it'll list all of my equipment. And then you can kind of see what I do. But I'll tell anybody to do it. You can budget it, but the key is the mic. Don't skimp on your microphone. Microphone is the key. And I have the Sony 6100, which was so hard to get through COVID. But I landed one, and I'll tell you a trick. So you buy a good camera, right? It's not the camera that makes it. It's the lens that makes the quality. So you can buy a camera, but spend your money on the lens so that you can get this 4K effect and your microphone.
So you're running your video through a digital camera?
Yes, I'm using a Sony 6100. And I'm using I forgot which microphone this is, but it's a top of the line mic. I have a Rodecaster Pro, which controls my sound system. I have a String Deck, which controls all of my modules. Like if I want to bring, I have a scene in here. Let me bring a scene in. I have a COVID cleanup. My God, let me just find him right quick. He's not on my screen, but I have a COVID cleanup guy. So if I press him, he'll come across the screen and he'll clean up, all of that good stuff, my sound and everything. But I see you guys are using, what is this? StreamYard, yeah. I use Ecamm Live. They're competitors, but I'm a software guru, and I got in, and I got a one-time fee license. So I'm in for life and all the updates. But yeah.
So if we don't have that budget and we're not professional photographers, what would be the under $100 range those of us that are just casually podcasting?
Okay, so if you're casually podcasting, then I would tell you to go on my website. You'll see the Logitech C920 HD Pro webcam. It's $69.
Oh, perfect.
So that's a good. So you get that as your camera, but you can go to, I say you can do this for under $400. I will give you this, $400. You get their Logicam camera. You go to Best Buy, and they have Elgato, ELGATO. They have some lights you can buy that are $120 each.
Mm-hmm.
That's 240. You get those two lights
Good
right.
at math too.
Yeah, you got those two lights right there. You got your Logitech, and you want to get a microphone. So your microphone, probably the Audio Teca, and it's on my website. Let me go back to my website. It's I'll give you that. Where's that? Oh, gear. It's on there. It's the Audio Teca ATR 2100. It's a good mic, and it's 119. So I think we hit it under or close. We're close to 400.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's
that
very
mic
cool.
is a good mic. I have it.
My birthday is coming up. All of my friends who are watching and listening.
But yeah, if you didn't write it down, like I say, SeanBrooks.com, I always put my gear because I always get that question asked.
Yeah. And I think that's really important because most of us who are entrepreneurs know that the future is not in buying advertising and having ads produced for us. It's in investing in our social media and who knows what our social media platforms are going to be a couple years from now, but we'll always be the center and looking good and sounding good. I think everyone can agree Sean really has us beat here, and he has most podcasters beat. It looks really good. Plus, you got a good haircut as you were watching that dog get his haircut.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we are coming to the end of an amazing segment. How to get out of your own way, how to do better lighting so you look better on your podcast. But more importantly, how to be authentic, how to be human, how to find your passion, monetize it, believe in yourself, not give a fudge about the world and what it thinks about you, and make money while doing something meaningful to yourself. And teach your children that it's okay to sell their passion. Well, be careful with what their passion is, but to really promote what they believe in, and not to believe that the entire world has to be neuroscientists like our Dr. Alba. But it's so funny. Dr. Alba is one of the best salespeople I know because she brings her credibility. She's not afraid to say, hey, this gizmo kills 90% of all viruses. Buy it. And so it's that passion combined with the technical aspects that I think make us very successful entrepreneurs. IQMK Global Partners and those who aren't in our community, we are passionate about health and hope and positive feelings in the midst of a time that needs us and Sean's energy more than ever. We are going to be live streaming if you're far away. Our conference, we've hired some people to come in and help us with that. But if you can be there in person, you know how to find us. You can also find us through Global Muscadine, our Facebook page. Just stay in touch. Be aware of your passion as the key to your prosperity. Oh, I like that. Your passion is the key to your prosperity. Sean, what does your whole shirt say?
This says peace and love and compassion and bliss.
Oh, that is perfect. It is.
This is my publicist. She sent me these, so this is her brand.
And you are welcome, Polo Cervantes. I do think this was great information, and I cannot wait to be with you in person and to hear you in person and to learn. Vivi, as usual, go ahead and take us out, and we will see everyone not next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we will be prepping and putting goodie bags together, but you will see us on Thursday and Friday and Saturday online. So I'll prep you all. I'll put it all on our social media, and I will have a better light the next time we have these things happening. All right, take us out.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you
welcome.
so
Thank
much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for everyone who was with us tonight. And as Sean said, let's just do it. Let's get out of our way. Let's be vulnerable. Let's be human. And we wish you the best for the rest of the week and for the rest of the year. So let's do it, everyone, and have a great way.